Alice first discovered a small bottle in the hall, with the words "Drink me" written on it. Alice decided to drink from it, and then strange things happened. Alice became very, very small. Then, she found a piece of cake, with the words "Eat me" written on it. Although Alice hesitated, she ate the cake anyway. After eating the cake, something strange, so strange, happened. Alice tried to shout, but she was so astonished that she couldn't speak. Now, I must have become the tiniest person in the telescope. She looked down at her feet. Goodbye, my dear feet. Her feet were getting smaller and smaller. Oh, my poor little feet, who will put your shoes on and tie your shoelaces now? Dear me, what nonsense I'm talking. I'm too far away from you to take care of you anymore. You'll have to take care of yourselves from now on. But I must be good to them, Alice thought. Otherwise, they might not want to go where I want to go. Oh, right. Every Christmas, I must give them a pair of new knee-high boots. She continued to ponder how to send gifts. It's so funny, giving gifts to my own feet. The address would be too peculiar. By the fireplace on the corner of the mantel, Alice's right foot, Alice's note. Oh, dear me, what nonsense I'm talking. Just then, her head bumped into the roof of the hall. Now she was at least 9 feet tall. She quickly picked up the little golden key and ran towards the garden door. Poor Alice! She could now only lie on her side on the ground, peering into the garden with one eye, and there was no way she could get in. So, she started crying again. Aren't you ashamed? Alice said to herself. A girl as big as you are still crying. Stop immediately. I command you. But she kept crying, and her tears formed a pool. She continued crying until there was a pool about 4 feet deep, and half of the hall had turned into a pond. After a while, she heard faint footsteps in the distance. She quickly wiped away her tears and looked to see who was coming. It turned out that the White Rabbit had come back again, dressed as smartly as ever. He held a pair of white kid gloves in one hand and a large fan in the other, hurrying along. As he walked, he mumbled to himself, "Oh, the Duchess, if I've kept her waiting too long, she mustn't get angry." Alice had hoped that someone would come to help her. So she was very disappointed when she saw the White Rabbit. But as the White Rabbit approached, she still timidly said, "Excuse me, sir." This startled the rabbit, who dropped his white kid gloves and fan and rushed back to the shore. Alice picked up the fan and gloves. Since it was quite hot in the room, she fanned herself while muttering, my dear, today has been so strange. Everything was normal yesterday. Did something change overnight? I need to think about it. When I woke up this morning, was I still myself? I felt something was off. But if I'm not myself, then who am I? Oh dear, it's such a mystery. She began to think about it one by one, which girl of her age she might have turned into. I'm sure I'm not Mary because she has long curly hair, and my hair is straight. I'm definitely not Adele because I know so many things, and she doesn't know anything. But she is she, and I am I. Oh dear, dear me. I'm confusing myself. It's really perplexing. She tried to remember things she used to know. 4 times 10 is 12, 4 times 6 is 12, 4 times 7. Oh dear, at this rate, I'll never get to 20, and the multiplication table isn't that interesting anyway. Let me try some geography. London is the capital of Paris, and Paris is the capital of Rome. Rome, oh no, 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 that's all wrong. I must have turned into Adele. Let me try to recite how the little crocodile lives. So she crossed her hands over her lap, just like reciting a lesson, and began to say it solemnly, though her voice sounded strange and hoarse, and her pronunciation was different from usual. How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail, and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale? How cheerfully he seems to grin, how neatly spreads his claws, and welcomes little fishes in with gently smiling jaws. I'm sure I got it wrong, Alice said sadly, shedding tears again. I must have really become Adele. I'll have to live in a dilapidated house with no toys and have to study so many lessons. No, I've made up my mind. If I'm Adele, I'll stay down this well. When they stick their heads into the well and say, "Come up, dear," I'll insist they tell me who I am first. If I turn into the person I like, I'll come up. If not, I'll stay here unless I turn into someone else. But, dear me! Alice suddenly burst into tears. I really want them to come and call me up. I don't want to stay here all alone.